Alrighty. Let's see here. I think we're live. This is where I have to go to my channel to make sure everything is looking and sounding lovely. Because I don't trust technology.
Mm-hmm.
Jabber with HorrorMaster. Hey, look, there we are. And I hear
There
sound
you
and I
go.
see us. Lovely. Cool.
We're live, pal.
Live, pal. Hey, pal. First time ever, ladies and gentlemen, that me and HorrorMaster, my buddy Ricky, and I are hanging out here together. Usually you'd see us on the Shadow Cult podcast talking wrestling, but or just cracking each other up with Terry Funk impressions or various
Yeah.
other put her in the bag type stuff like that. But because it's the time of year it is, it's that wonderful time of year, the Halloween season, of which I love so much, and he's horror master. I gotta have him on here. We gotta jabber about
Mhm.
horror, don't we? We kind of have to do that. So Ricky is, of course, not just a horror fan; he's the metalhead. I mean, this guy's so knowledgeable about metal, blows me the hell away, along with Levi and various other people out there. So I always learn something when I'm hanging with these guys. So where does the story of horror for the horror master begin? When did that kind of snap for you?
Um, if I remember correctly, I actually got into horror before I was a wrestling and metal fan. Actually, I think I was like 5 years old. Me and my family went to Houston to visit one of my uncles, and I don't know how this came up, but my uncle had the first Child's Play movie on VHS. Remember, kids, when VHSs were a thing? I do.
Hmm.
So he put it on. I don't know why he decided to put it on. As a 5 year old me, I was like, what the hell is this? He thought I was going to get scared. On the contrary, I actually loved it. And every time we would go there, he would. I asked him, "Do you have the still the VHS?" And yes, he will put it on. I will watch fucking Child's Play the first part one, and then later on he bought Bride of Chucky. So I have fond memories of you know seeing Chucky as my first big horror icon. That's why he's my absolute favorite horror icon.
Hmm.
And since then, well, it kind of progressed. And then I got into metal, and then I got into wrestling, and of course, being in those three categories, they mash a lot
A lot of
in a big
overlay with
way.
those things.
A lot of overlays. So
Hmm.
when you discover a band, they might be inspired by a horror film, or you listen to a wrestler's thing, might be discovered by something and all that, all and off and off. But I've been a horror fan ever since,
Hmm.
going on for 20 plus years.
Since why he's the horror master. Hello to Rachel Jones in the chat. Hello to Lateus. We got the Netherlands in the house. Good to see everybody out there hanging with us. So please stop in the chat. Say, hey, if you guys got questions for us, throw it in the chat. We don't mind answering your questions. Could be about horror, could be about wrestling, metal, and all that fun stuff too. Because also this guy's you're a comic book fan, correct too?
Yes, also
Yeah.
I'm
So
huge
another
comic.
one that goes over.
Exactly, another one of those things. It's like,
Mhm.
to me, if I were to rank my well, four hobbies: metal at the top, horror, wrestling, and then comic books. It all depends.
Mm.
Sometimes I am really into comics. Sometimes I'm really into wrestling. But those four, they're like my top four.
Mhm. Makes sense. Of course, Lateus, I remember you. How can I forget you? Come on. You're our stud from the Netherlands. I can't forget our stud here. So, speaking of studs, Ricky, um, we're talking any kind of stuff tonight. Since I got a horror master, we can talk horror, we can talk metal, we can talk wrestling, we can talk all that stuff.
Mhm.
So, if I'm going to cruise you with not the favorites, because the favorite thing, everyone talks the favorites all the time. What's your favorite horror movie? What's your favorite,
Yeah,
type of thing? Well, what genre of horror are we talking about? There's so many things we could delve
exactly.
into. But if there was going to be like, okay, it's Friday night, we're going to Ricky's house. We got this, we got the pizza, we got the popcorn, we got drinks, we got all that stuff. Let's line up a movie marathon. Give us like 5 movies that we're definitely watching on a particular night.
Okay, so it's funny. I actually do this every Halloween night. I always requested it off, and for some reason, I always get it off. Thankfully, so I kind of do this a lot often. So 5 movies if I were to watch on a Friday night. The first one being The Shining. That's always one of those movies that really you need to see it more than once to understand. Even if you've seen it a bunch of times like I've had, I still don't get it. It's one of those movies that I don't know how Stanley Kubrick was able to, I guess, bring it to life, even though Stephen King has said that he doesn't like that version of The Shining, which is weird that he says that.
Well, you just got to be a major
Uh,
dick when you're making your movie, so that helps a lot.
yeah. And by the way, Doctor Sleep is pretty good. If you haven't seen Doctor Sleep, it's pretty good. What other movie?
So we got
Child's
The
Play
Shining,
2.
Child's Play 2.
Child's
Okay.
Play 2.
I
My
knew there was going to be a
absolute
Child's Play
favorite,
movie in there for you.
yeah, my absolute favorite Chucky film, because this is the film that I think Chucky went crazy in all of his kills. I felt that Don Mancini, I don't think he directed, but he was a part of the process of the movie. He was able to let Chucky be more creative in his kills. I mean, the scene where he kills the teacher with the ruler, the factory scene. I mean, wow. I mean, that's what I think of Chucky when I see Chucky. That's my Chucky right there. Third film. I'm actually trying to think since I was have DVDs on my horror films. Funny enough. Uh, the Blair Witch Project. It's one of the first, if not the first, found footage horror film. If I'm,
It's not the first, but it's like the first, like well known.
oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
it had such a huge
Cannibal.
buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
there's been others in the
yeah.
past that did not get the
Cannibal
recognition.
Holocaust.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cannibal
Things of
Holocaust being one of
that
them.
nature. Mhm.
But the fact that that movie was made on a low budget, I think it was made of like a quarter of a, no, not like a fourth of $1 million,
Oh,
something
not
around
even.
there.
Yeah, it was around
Not
200
even.
grand. Yeah, 200 grand,
I
and it
think,
grossed, I don't know, $10 million, something ridiculous, to where they
and the
greenlit,
yeah,
the
and the
sequels and
fact that
everything.
the fact that the actor stayed in character for that whole year,
Hmm.
they thought it was real.
Yep.
And you don't need that much supernatural. I mean, just three guys in a forest, one video recorder. Oh my god.
Hmm.
Um, two more films. Halloween, the original Halloween.
Of course,
Of course,
gotta have
Michael
it in there.
Myers. You gotta
Mhm.
have it in there. And the last film, The Exorcist. I
You only
mean,
have like three of the goats, and then
mhm,
two that are kind of like more subjective, for
yeah,
yourself, like Child's Play 2 and the Blair Witch Project have it in there.
yeah.
But still, what I'm happy to see as an old guy, seeing movies like the original Halloween, like The Exorcist, like The Shining, being really getting into the younger generation's psyche when it comes to Halloween and horror and things like that. So
Mhm.
that's a hell of a five movie
Oh
lineup
yeah,
there.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, I still like the Universal monsters. I love the original Psycho. I love Birds. I love those kind of 60s horror films that not people really talk about.
Mhm.
You know.
And going back to Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, the Wolf
Mhm.
Man, which I somehow have a lot of camaraderie with him.
Yeah.
amigos right here. We
Yeah.
do have a question from Rachel Jones. Least favorite horror character?
Now,
Least
in
favorite.
general, or in
Well,
terms of
yes.
like,
Let's just go like the first thing that comes to your mind. What's if someone said, "Who do you hate in horror?" Or what's your least favorite horror character? I mean, could it be the killer? Could it be a victim? Something along those lines. So the first one that maybe pops into mind.
probably the killer from Urban Legend.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, I think they made two. The first one was fine. The second one, I really didn't like it.
Hmm. Yeah, of course, everything goes downhill on the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me,
Mm,
least favorite horror character is probably, well, anything that's in the movie Veronica. I'm just going to say that across the board because that movie is absolute garbage. But yeah, I'll go with
the
that one.
the Spanish one, the Veronica.
No, Danzig's movie.
Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
Because I
Worst
only know the
horror movie
Veronica.
I ever saw.
Because I only know the Veronica Spanish film, which is a Spanish from Spain. They made this film about a true story about an exorcism. Well, not really an exorcism, but a girl that played with the Ouija board, which already played with the Ouija board. Uh, she begins to be haunted by spirits, and she actually dies. But I think it was one of the first supernatural encounters in Spain in the 90s.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a movie, I think it's on Netflix, and when it came out, people were saying, "Oh, it's the scariest film you're ever gonna see," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll watch it." I'm like, "It's like, it's nothing.
Okay, whatever.
It's nothing. Okay."
I
Like,
mean, obviously, you got to
but
hype up everything that's what's. I mean, look at I'm wearing the freaking T-shirt of the the movie that was
mhm.
based on a true story, and
No, I mean,
not really.
yeah,
It's like
it was kind of
nothing about this
based on a
movie is
serial
real except
killer.
for the influence of Ed Gein on Leatherface with the skin mask and the bone furniture. That's it. So it's like,
And the Texas heat. That heat is not real.
I've never been to Texas, but my man lives in Texas and suffers every freaking year. And you watch, that's the thing about the original Texas Chainsaw. It just feels hot when you watch it.
Hmm.
It's like you are, you
Hmm.
could watch that thing in the dead of winter here in the Northeast when it's 20 below and still feel like you are just sweating buckets watching that
I
damn film.
I think Toby Hooper said that it was 120
120
degrees.
degrees. During the
Yeah.
infamous dinner scene, Gunnar
Mhm.
Hansen had to go out and throw up from the smell
Yeah.
of the sausages that they had in that room being because it's 110, 100 to 510 degrees to begin with in the air. Then you throw in the bright lights in a very small enclosed space in that German farmhouse
Yeah.
with no air conditioning, and they had to cover the windows to make it look like it was nighttime. So all that heat just exponentially gets hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
He had enough. He had to go out and yak up lunch after having that
Oh
scene done.
yeah. And it was a dry heat.
Hmm. Which dry heat, for a lot of people saying it's not as bad. If for like up in the Northeast here, the humidity is just it's intolerable. Especially this past year, it was absolutely horrendous. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that's where you get to the idea where it's the scariest movie of all time. This movie will make you want to run and scare, run and hide and all that stuff. And
I
of
mean,
course,
don't
you
get
have
me
to use that.
wrong. There have been some horror movies that have legit been like shocking to people, like The Exorcist when it came out. My mom told me this that one of my aunts and one of her cousins saw the Exorcist in the 80s. I think it was like a re-release or something. I don't remember because The Exorcist came out in 74.
Mhm.
So she never got to see the experience of the Exorcist in real life until they released it in theaters for whatever reason. She told me that people to that day, you're talking about like 74, like maybe like 10 years, 12 years after the release of the movie, people were still disgusted and in shock that it was so real. It looked so real because there was no CGI. It was all makeup and special effects.
Yep, an aspect
I
that
mean,
we have mostly lost in the modern era.
even right now, I mean, Terrifier 3, I just saw that it's getting banned in France.
Well, I mean, it's France; they could ban everything, so it doesn't matter. But remember, Texas Chainsaw was banned in England up until like what 10 years ago. It was
I
on like the
think
filthy.
so.
It was on that banned list of movies for
Yeah.
forever, and kind of like when Alice Cooper was touring, he was getting banned in several places. He's like, "What are we getting banned for?
Yeah.
There's
The
no
thing,
violence,
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like
And
the
it's weird.
banning of
And
stuff
it's,
is like,
yeah.
ugh.
And it's weird because he would ask the press or I think some officials, they're like, is there nudity? No. Is there any foul language? No. And
No.
what is it? There's blood. Have you seen Macbeth? That's required to read in school. And
Right.
it's even bloodier than my stage.
Hmm.
But then
Yeah.
again, it was the 70s. The satanic panic really haven't started or was beginning to
That was more
start.
the 80s. That was during my time as a kid. I remember seeing it plenty of
Yeah.
times. We do have
Yeah.
another question here. This is from Lateus. This is a metal question. On a scale of
Mhm.
1 to 10, how would you rate Trivium? but also Nightwish. I know totally different metal, but still. So how do you rate out of 1 to 10 Trivium and
Hmm.
Nightwish?
Okay, so you're talking two separate schools of thought. Trivium is from the 2000s, a bit more metalcore, even though they're not really metalcore anymore. They're more straight up metal classic riffs. Nightwish is more of a operatic, classical, grandiose metal.
Symphonic. Yeah.
Now, Nightwish, of course, is being fronted by a female vocalist, which is one thing that a lot of young women who want to get into metal, it's an easier way to get into metal. Listen to bands like Nightwish, Within Temptation, Arch Enemies, a bit of a stretch, but it happens. So Nightwish, I give them a 7. They're not my favorite in terms of like the symphonic metal. Would I still see them live? Of course, I will see them live. Trivium, it took me a while to get into Trivium. Not gonna lie. Probably give them a 6. Would I still see them? Of course, I will see them live.
Hmm. There you go. Want to say hi to Captain Panu who's hanging on the chat. Ivalani's here, and Ivalani, you've been a very bad girl. You've been a very, very bad girl. You are gonna get it. You are going to get it. Who else we got hanging out here? Horse Rachel's out there again, and let's see. All right. Lateus also has another question. Could you ask Ricky what his favorite metal bands are after this? And we know about Trivium, Nightwish, or Sabaton too. We'd like to know your opinion about
Oh,
Sabaton.
again, Sabaton and Nightwish are like the closest two because Sabaton kind of dials in operatic, but it's more power metal. I would love to see Sabaton. It's one of those bands that, if you are a history nerd like myself, since my minor section in history, you understand the references of the songs. So I'd probably give them like an 8.5. Now, favorite metal bands, there's a lot. I have a lot of metal bands, favorite metal
Yes,
bands.
he does.
I have a
We're going to
lot.
be here all night if he tries to list them all.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be going through my entire CDs. Like, it's a hard question because I could say this right now, and a year from now, it could change my mind. But I can actually tell you my top 5 bands that I actually was religiously listening during high school, which were AC/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest. Funny enough, I've seen Maiden. I'm about to see Maiden again in November. I just bought tickets to see Metallica for next year. So if I can see Guns N' Roses, Judas Priest, and AC/DC, I'll fulfill my high school self, because man, those bands were my absolute jam during high school.
Mhm. Yeah, and those are the bands that just carry on throughout your entire life, and they become the soundtrack of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Rachel. You kind of touched upon this. What are your thoughts on the Blair Witch Project? You put it in your top 5, or if we were going to go, not your top 5, but if we were going to have a movie marathon,
Yeah.
you mentioned it there. Now, I got to be honest. I'm not a fan of found footage movies. Never have been. I don't really give a shit about the Blair Witch Project in any way, shape, or form. That's just me personally. But different generation, younger generations, they come across this. This was new. This was exciting. This was different for younger generations like Ricky and many other people too. So I can see how it kind of translates over to them. There's going to be stuff that I'm going to be into that younger people are like, "Are you fucking kidding me, old man? Go back to the freaking old man's home, would you please?" So here he comes. There he comes. There it is. There it is.
Yep. Yep. So the Blair Witch came out. The Blair Witch came out. Was it late 90s, 1999,
99 or
around
2000.
there?
Yeah, it was
So
99 or
must have
2000.
so I must have been 3 to 4 years old when that happened. And I don't actually remember how I discovered the Blair Witch Project. If my earliest memory of the film was probably because I never saw it on TV. They never ever put it on TV that I'm aware of. Maybe now, but I think I was at one of my cousin's house, and he put the film, and I think I remember I saw half of the film, and I couldn't remember the rest of the name of the film because I was like 12. Again, there was no there was there was phones, but not as much as we have right now. So I think I rediscovered by myself again, watching a lot of movies, and I think a lot of people gave this film more appreciation with the paranormal activity films, with the found footage films
Mhm.
genre. I guess that's when it began to like, I guess, get more praise. Same thing with Cannibal Holocaust. So yeah, I mean, it's a movie that, like we mentioned before, was even made for under $1 million, and it grossed so much money.
Mhm. And that's usually like a real testament to the creative process is being able to take, nothing
Hmm.
and create something so grandiose and huge out of it. It's just for me, going into the 2000s, we were getting into the reality TV era stronger than ever, and
Mm.
that's where it kind of started to filter into the movie theater with paranormal activity, like you said, the Blair Witch Project, and various other found footage like that. So,
Hmm.
DJ, our registered troll, he did have a question in here. I got to try to find it. Does Ricky listen to hip hop?
Hmm. Now define hip hop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Define hip hop.
yeah. I mean, we talking rap, we talking hip hop, we talking actual pop nowadays because hip
Okay.
hop's dead.
Okay. In terms of that hip hop, and we'll ask him that Captain Banda's question a bit. Um, classic rap. I love classic rap. I love like classic pop, Madonna, Michael Jackson, the good stuff. But in terms of like modern, well, I can actually say this modern artist, non rock or metal. Billie Eilish is one of my absolute favorites, which is kind of
Mhm.
weird that I'm saying that, but I love Billie Eilish. I like listening to her music. It's
Sure.
Oh,
Hmm.
and that's it. I've been really getting into dark wave and synthwave music. I
Hmm.
love I love dark and synthwave music. It's not really heavy, but it's mellow. But it's like, imagine driving at night after a long day at work, putting a song like that. It relaxes you.
Hmm.
It fits.
Yeah, even though we are metalheads through and through, you can't just listen to metal your whole life. There's got to be other types of music that
Yeah.
you can get into and kind of get lost and just explore your mind into them. Like you said, if you're driving, you've had a rough day at work, you're driving home. Sometimes you want to throw on some Cannibal Corpse or Mortician or whatever to get the anger
Hmm.
out. But then other times you want to chill, so you throw the dark wave on, or listen to Billie Eilish, or listen to like 80s one-hit wonders like I'll do sometimes. So it's
Hmm.
it's all subjective. It's all what what speaks to you personally. So Captain Panda had a question. What is your favorite psychological thriller where the monsters are real people doing twisted things?
Psychological thriller.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Leave it
tough.
there.
That's tough. Where the monsters are real people doing pretty much not really a slasher film because it I don't know. I don't even know what you consider psychological thriller. I have to look that up. Actually, psychological thriller films. Let's see. Apparently, Misery, Silence of the Lambs, Black Swan, The Shining, and The Sixth Sense are considered there. Psycho, Us, Shutter Island. Oh, I love Shutter Island.
Mm-hmm.
But just from seeing what I could actually find, American Psycho, apparently it is. Get Out, apparently is on that list. Apparently Joker, which in a way, I
Maybe.
guess.
Yeah.
But from that, I mean, Silence of the Lambs, Misery, The Sixth Sense, Psycho, you know?
Yeah, but they are the ones where the human beings, like you said, are the monsters doing doing the twisted things. So
Yeah.
there's always that fine line between what's divided as a psychological thriller and what's a horror movie. Remember the interview that Sid Haig did years ago about the fact, like, someone asked him, why doesn't movies like Devil's Rejects get Oscar nominations, but a movie like Silence of the Lambs will? And there really is no definitive answer to that. Is it just because Anthony Hopkins is playing a character and Jodie Foster's in it? Not necessarily, because there are horror movies with big name actors in them too. And sometimes you're going to find better acting in the horror movie than you will the psychological thriller movie. So it's the Hollywood movie machine doing what it has to do to make itself feel good about itself.
Yeah.
So, but all of those movies right there, I would say Silence of the Lambs for me would probably be like one of the top psychological thrillers that I would get into. Let's see. Let's see on the questions out there. DJ want to know if you listen to ICP.
I tried. There may be like one or two songs.
I'll do one album.
Maybe one or two songs.
That's it.
I'm not a juggalo. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So I think that's what we got for questions so far. Now, what about we're talking mostly about horror movies so far. What other kinds of horror properties are you into? Books, TV shows? We'll get into the metal discussion in a bit.
Yeah.
Because there's so much crossover between horror and metal too.
Oh yeah. TV shows, books, poems. I mean, I remember reading all of the Goosebumps books in elementary. The original, I think it was like 50-something books, maybe more. Oh man, I remember. Now I'm like getting back some memories, because I remember reading those books and then discovering the Goosebumps TV show and seeing those books being brought to life. Man, that brought back some memories. Like, in terms of books, since I read them all, one of my favorites was The Werewolf of Beaver Swamp, The Haunted Mask, Say Cheese and Die, Calling All Creeps. There was another one that I actually liked. Monster Blood. That one. Yeah, those are really good ones. Yeah, I remember watching that after school, going to Cartoon Network during the Halloween season, and they were there. In terms of like other horror TV shows, of course, the Chucky TV series, which fortunately got the freaking axed. Sucks.
No pun intended.
The Hannibal TV series that came out a couple of years ago, I thought that was an amazing adaptation of Hannibal Lecter. What other TV shows are there that I actually did enjoy? Ghost Encounters once in a while. I did enjoy that.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever get a chance to check out some of the older stuff, like Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, Freddy's Nightmares, the Friday the 13th series that had nothing to do with Friday the 13th, things of that? Have you ever checked any of that stuff out?
I have. The Friday the 13th one caught me off guard. I'm like,
so makes no sense.
So they're using an intellectual property, but without the main reason. Tales from the Creep. Yeah. Oh man, Tales from the Creep. Creep Show, even though that's more of film. 2 films actually. Or is it 3?
Three.
Yeah.
It's an anthology, so it's fine.
Yeah, and anthologies. The Nightmare Room. This is how old I am. The Nightmare Room with R.L. Stine. Pretty much a rip-off. Pretty much a rip-off of Goosebumps.
Okay. Let's see, Captain Panda, another question. What is your worst horror cosplay you've done, or most uncomfortable? Mine was a zombie because the wounds were made with gelatin and cotton, sticky and hot as fuck. I've never really done a horror cosplay before. I mean, when I was a kid, I did the, dressed up on Halloween as I got painted up as a vampire or painted up as a wolf man, painted up as one time I did have Ultimate Warrior makeup put on. It was pretty cool. That was for a school dance, by the way. It was a Halloween dance, so it counted.
You're
But
like,
never really
yeah, I want to dance with me.
load up the rocket fuel. The whole promo. But I don't know. I've never really done anything like that. I've had to wrestle in masks, and those are tough sometimes when you can't breathe. Those are kind of rough. I actually had to wrestle one time. I had a La Parka mask, and I was wrestling with that on, and for some reason I could not get a breath. I could not breathe in that freaking thing. I could walk around with it all the time in the locker room and just chat up and just be stupid with it on. But once I got in the ring and started actually like doing action with it on, I could not take a breath at all. I am literally outside the ring, sticking my fingers in the mouth hole of this mask, trying to rip it open just to feel like I can get some oxygen. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Totally ruined the mask. I don't even know what happened to it after that. But so I guess that counts.
Yeah.
That's me. What about you?
So funny enough, I've actually dressed up as a zombie for senior week in high school.
Oh, okay.
Which funny enough, it was on Halloween.
Makes
And
sense.
for all of you for that, I'm not joking. Here's the proof.
Oh, there it is. Very nice. Very nice. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the only time that my school had did that. After the next couple of years, they kind of stopped doing the senior week for Halloween because I don't know, for some reason. But I'm glad that I can say my school year, my class was able to be zombie day for Halloween, and it was cloudy as hell that day. So it made perfect. It was so perfect.
Tremendous.
People
I
were
mean,
actually scared. I actually take the bus to go to school. People were actually scared. They were like, "Why a whole bunch of people are dressed are like in, makeup and blood?" I'm like, "Well, it's Halloween,
yeah, number one. Yeah.
But number one, yeah."
We got Mean Metal Mike in the chat, so that's going to lead to some fun questions. Mike asks, Push
Ooh.
Job Endeavor, Terrorizer 2, Friday the 13th 2, Halloween 2. Take it, Ricky.
I'm
You know what
gonna
I'm doing.
endeavor Friday the 13th Part 2.
I agree.
I'm gonna drop Halloween 2, and I'm gonna push the living hell out of Terrifier 2.
Okay. I would actually push Halloween 2, and I would job Terrorizer or Terror 2. Yeah, Terrorizer 2. Yeah, and Endeavor the hell on Friday the 13th. We don't need Hillbilly Jason. That's sackhead.
No.
That's stupid.
No.
Let's see. What is Ricky's favorite hood horror movie? Tales from the Hood,
horror.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh no!
Things like
hell
that.
no, not Leprechaun from the Hood. Little Red Riding Hood.
It's actually a hood movie. It's actually a hood movie, a hood horror movie. The People Under the Stairs.
I actually have the movie on DVD too.
That is a hood horror movie, and it's a great one.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Thrash or Trash? Spooky Song, Black Sabbath, or Sabbath Bloody Sabbath?
Oh, come on, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, for hell yeah.
Oh,
Thrash that all the way.
Hell out of that. Captain Panda, favorite comedy horror? Young Frankenstein, Dracula Dead, Loving It, etc. Young Frankenstein is one of the greatest of all time. I'm going to throw Army of Darkness in there too.
Yeah, Scary Movie, the first one.
Scary Movie.
Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. The Monster Squad. That's a classic from my era. That's always a fun one. I would definitely put Beetlejuice in there. I would put Beetlejuice in there.
Repossessed. Remember that film?
Repossessed. Yep. 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 Those all belong in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of say that Terrifier films are also kind of comedy horror, but they're more, as you like to say, Scott.
Extreme. It's more extreme.
More torture porn,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
kind of.
legit torture. The first movie is definitely straight up torture porn. Let's see. Me, Metal Mike. Hillbilly Jason or Myers from Halloween 4? I'll take Myers from Halloween 4.
Yeah, Halloween
Way
4.
better.
Yeah,
That,
way
everything
better.
about that movie is better than Friday the 13th Part 2. What is Ricky's Disney horror film?
Disney.
Disney.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, I go back, as I'm old. I go back to the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which was a twofer with Mr. Toad's
Hmm.
Wild Ride there,
Yeah.
Mr. Frog and Mr. Toad there. But yeah, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow is my all-time favorite story, so I would go with that for me.
Disney. I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe I don't know if this is considered Disney, but it was on the Disney Channel, Halloween Town. Is that Disney?
Halloween Town? I would think so.
Yep.
Channel, so that's got to be associated somehow. So
Yeah, that's one.
it's like, yeah, what else? I mean, there's the that's not horror. Oh, what's the is it Fern Gully with Tim Curry as the evil spirit there? What is it? Asking off screen here. Yeah, it's in Fern Gully though, isn't it? It's not Disney. It's not? Is that a Don Bluth movie then? It's not Disney. Okay, my bad. See how these properties just all get all messed up together.
Oh, a Haunted Mansion.
Haunted
Eddie Murphy.
Mansion.
Yeah.
Yep. That counts. Let's see. Oh, this is for me. Thrash or Trash, Ghostbusters theme or Rocky theme? Well, Rocky theme.
Yeah, by far,
definitely go with
Rocky.
the Rocky.
Dun, 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 dun.
Watch or skip, Alien 3 or Halloween 5? Oh, God.
God.
Probably Alien 3. I'll watch that as opposed to Halloween 5. It's bad, but it's just not as bad as Halloween 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Yeah,
here.
they're very trying very hard, but no.
Yeah, because Alien 3, of course, Ripley dies for the billionth time. Halloween 5 is after Halloween 4, the Thorn trilogy. Jamie doesn't talk. She ends up talking at the very end. And again, some of the kills are they're kind of creative ish. The mask doesn't do the greatest job. I think I'll watch Alien 3, actually.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll go Alien 3 on that one over Halloween 5 any day. Captain Panda, how long would it take you to figure out who's the villain in each Scooby-Doo episode? About 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, also Scooby-Doo. I remember watching Scooby-Doo all the time.
Oh, yep, there you go. Scooby-Doo definitely counts in there. I mean, it's not Disney property, which Rachel Jones did confirm Halloween Town is Disney. So that does that computes in there. Sip or spit, apple cider or pumpkin spice coffee?
I'll take pumpkin spice coffee.
I would probably do that too. I'm not an apple cider fan unless it's in donut form. But
No.
and I'm not a basic bitch, so I'm not big into pumpkin spice. But between those two, I'd try it. So, favorite wrong turn film? There is no good wrong turn film. Moving on.
Oh God, I remember ranking those wrong turn films a couple of years ago.
Oh God,
I don't remember which one I had. I don't remember which one I had number one.
Let's see. Push Job Endeavor, Spooky Disney Edition, Hades, Davy Jones, Maleficent. This is a good one. This is actually a good one. I mean, I'm endeavoring Hades. I'm probably going to push Maleficent and Job Davy Jones.
I'll Job Davy Jones. Who do I freaking push? Because I really love Maleficent, the cartoon, and Hades. So I remember. Oh God, I'll probably push Hades because I got into Hercules more than Sleeping Beauty. I saw that before Sleeping Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
so by that.
Was Halloween 5 the one with the crappy mask? There was a lot of them with a crappy mask.
There's a
So,
lot. There's a
yeah.
lot. If I were to rank the Halloween masks, the Michael Myers masks, not the clown masks, at the very bottom, it's either between the one from Halloween 2, Halloween H2O,
Yeah, that's up there.
or
Is it Resurrection?
Resurrection. It's the
The
same one
one
from
with,
H2O, I know.
well, kind of, because whatever one Busta Rhymes is in.
That's a Resurrection.
Yeah, that mask is like CGI'd in some scenes. It's not even a real mask.
Yeah. Some people actually crap on the Rob Zombie, which has this it gives a bit of character, the mask,
Mhm.
you know. But I
Yeah, it's
think the
aged,
one
it's
from
worn a little bit
Halloween,
more.
I think the one from H2O or Halloween 5 or uh, yeah, I think this was at the very bottom for me.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of my favorite, of course, the original
The original,
Halloween,
yeah, of
the
course.
original. It's funny how that actually came about, but actually the mask that I don't remember if it was John Carpenter or was it Deborah Hill that found the shit, I'm forgetting his name.
William Shatner.
William Shatner, the William
Mhm.
Shatner mask, and just like play around with it, and they came up with the Halloween mask. I don't
That
remember
was
they
it.
actually paid what did they actually pay some royalties to William Shatner for
They
the
had to
use
do,
of the
yeah,
mask?
they had to do something like that because it was his likeness.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the details of that escape me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Halloween has progressively gotten worse. It seems with the masks, minus the Rob Zombie ones.
Yeah.
Victor Scott, do we need Friday the 13th and Halloween in the hood? No,
No,
we don't need
no,
that.
no.
Don't need that. Watch or skip any of the Ernest movies or all the bad spin-offs of Texas Chainsaw. I gotta be honest.
I'll watch the Ernest films. Sometimes they're funny as hell.
I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen any of the Ernest films from start to finish. Um, and all the bad spin-offs of Texas Chainsaw. I mean, there's a lot of those. So, but I would probably, yeah, I'll watch the Ernest movies over watching the bad Texas movies. 13 Ghosts. Discuss.
Oh yes, yes. I remember 13 Ghosts was one of the first
Now, we talking
films.
the original or are we talking the remake from like the 2000s?
That's true. Now we're talking the original or remake. Because if it's the remake, I can go all on. Because
Yeah.
even though the original is good, to me the remake was my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I still remember all the names of the 13 Ghosts. See if I remember.
Go for it.
The firstborn son, the bound woman, the torturer, the withered lover, the angry princess, the torn prince, the great child and the dying mother, the hammer, the jackal, the juggernaut, and the 13th one is always the one that's the main character. I think it's the broken heart or something like that.
There you go. That's got to count as being impressive right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ivalani, the bad girl. You ever seen 1408 with John Cusack? Oh, actually, she was asking that to Captain Panda. But have you ever seen? I know about that movie. I never saw it.
1408?
Yeah, 1408.
Yeah, I've seen it. Um, Psychological horror. I mean, I think it was Stephen King adaptation. Yeah, it is Stephen King adaptation, or maybe he was. I don't remember if I know Stephen King was involved in the film, but I don't remember if it was first a story or he helped develop the concept. But the fact that you're stuck in a hotel room and there's no way of like getting out. It's like you're literally in hell, you know?
Yep, it just keeps constantly going about the same
I think
process
that
every day. And
was
it's also
what
that's a lot of basis for a lot of creepy pastas that are out there too.
that was like what 2007, 2009.
Yeah, the mid 2000s. I
Around?
mean, it's a blur for me, but I knew that's kind of the time frame it came
Yeah,
out. Walter says you're not nude. Sorry.
sorry, wrong
Me Metal
website.
Mike. Worst attempt: Halloween H2O or Texas Chainsaw 3D. I'm gonna go Halloween H2O as a worst attempt because I actually do like
Yeah,
Texas 3D.
I mean, I'll still watch any of the Halloween films, but H2O. I mean, the story was kind of weird. I mean, the fact that the mask alone tells you by far,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the fact that Michael is sensitive to like loud noise or something like that. I mean, when was
Uh,
that ever established in the first two films?
yeah, it's just the retconning of various things in these horror movies, like when in Jason vs. Freddy, when Jason all of a sudden is scared of water. What? Like, huh?
I mean, then
Whatever.
again, I mean, he was drowned, but he was never
Yeah, but
actually
he's been in water
scared.
many times in any other movie, so it's like he's not
Yeah,
scared of water. Where
but
are they getting this from?
then again, at the final scene in Jason Goes to Manhattan, doesn't he get drowned?
He gets
Remember?
drowned, but he's not necessarily scared of the water. So it's just the fact in Jason vs. Freddy they have running water, and he's like, I'm like, dude. But it's like, oh, Freddy's scared of fire, so Jason has to be scared of water. What somebody would be
How
scared
is
of
Freddy
dirt and
scared
air
of
next?
fire? He's fucking burned
He's
already.
burnt. He's got a burnt pole. He's got a burnt dick. Who cares? He doesn't care. He's too busy banging Jason's mom because you're a bitch. Anyway, shout out to the Merkins and my man Roy. Let's see. All right, me mail to Mike. What would happen if we had a sequel to Halloween 3? What would happen to the rest of the Silver Shamrock Company? What happens after Atkins is on the phone? Ooh. Mike's trying
Okay.
to create the new universe using Season of the Witch. Which there's nothing wrong with
Okay.
Halloween 3.
No, I
Not you.
love
I'm
that
talking to
film.
people out there. The horror gatekeepers
Okay.
out there. Eat it.
Okay. So if my memory was correct, the Halloween franchise originally was supposed to be an anthology series. Halloween 1 and 2 was going to be one complete story, Halloween 3, 4, so on and so forth. After Halloween 3 bombed, they were like, let's go back to bringing back Michael. But, what would happen afterwards? Well, then again, you got to remember, this company was worldwide. They were only stopping this in their local town, which I don't remember. Was it
I forget
somewhere
the
in
name of the town.
Chicago? Somewhere like in Chicago area around there?
I think it was shot in California, but I think it was supposed to take place in some place well, there's
Yeah.
that one scene near the end of the movie where they're showing the kids trick or treating, and they're in different cities around the country. So
Yeah.
they are doing that. So that is
Yeah.
ingrained in my head, but I can't remember the actual area the movie takes
Yeah.
place in.
I just know the company was in a cornfield or somewhere like far away from the city.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta remember, he was only trying to stop some of the local TV stations from showing the ad. And again, this is a company that has, I'm guessing, like worldwide recognition. So if you're just stopping this in your local town, what's that gonna happen to the rest of the cities, the rest of the world? They're all gonna be freaking mind controlled or morphed or whatever the fuck under this spell. Was it a spell or?
Well, the piece of the rock of
Yeah,
Stonehenge that was placed into the mask
yeah,
made these bugs and worms and insects start to come through, and they started to kill whoever was wearing them.
yeah.
So that's what's going to happen to anybody wearing the masks. The
Mm-hmm.
signal that's coming through the TVs, could it become supernatural to where it actually shoots like lightning out and fries some people, like it happens to the old guy there, Dan O'Leary, I think is who plays the character.
Yeah.
So you would think like he got all the stations to stop except that one, like stop it, turn it off, and then fade to black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would probably
Yeah,
expose the company for what they were, and then the authorities would go after them. So,
but then again, think about it. If you have kids all over the world wearing those masks, there you could easily control them. Because I'm pretty sure that was like one of those things like we could easily control kids under the
mhm,
mask. What
mhm,
makes you stop that from kids destroying town? You
yep.
think you think police people you think police officers are gonna shoot a kid? You know, I know it's a rhetorical question, but in this, but in
In
this
1983,
universe,
probably not.
I know, but in this universe,
This
think about
universe.
it.
Mhm,
Think about it. In this universe, in Halloween 3,
mhm,
I see that the signal goes so crazy that the kids start to take over,
mhm.
and they have to somehow the adults are, I don't know, they're like they get killed, they turn into their slaves. So pretty much kind of like South Park, that episode when they used uh I don't remember, was it when they were accusing their parents of being molested? That kind of concept, but with the mask and someone being like the evil one and controlling everything.
Mm.
So I'm guessing that's what they will probably do in part 4,
Okay.
something like that.
So it would be a mind control situation that they would try to
Yeah,
break the kids out of in some
yeah.
case. Would that lead to having to destroy the stone from Stonehenge? Would they have to wipe out Stonehenge completely to break the spell? There could be all kinds of fun to have with that.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to check this out. Have you checked out the new song from Dream Theater called Night Terror?
it's pretty good.
Mhm.
It gave me images and words vibes.
Well, being that Mike Portnoy's back, definitely I can see that, right?
Oh yeah, and I know Levi, since he's a huge Dream Theater fan. He's like,
Speaking of
gotta
Levi, hi
see this.
Levi, there he is.
Hey, Levi.
So yeah, I may have to do a reaction to that song, but it is like 10 minutes long, so we'll see. 1408 or Secret Window. I'm
I don't think I've ever seen Secret Window.
trying to
Actually,
remember.
let me
Is
look it
that
up.
the? I might be thinking of something different then. When I see Secret Window, I might be thinking of the wrong thing.
Oh, the one with Johnny Depp.
Okay, it's not that one then. That's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think I'll still go with 1408.
Let's see. Mhm. Let's see. Kind of continuing our discussion about Halloween 3. My dad, this is from Rachel. My dad said people had a problem with 3 because they assumed Michael was going to be in it. He was killed and brought back. How many do you need that to happen? How many do you need that to happen? Well, the end of
Well,
Halloween 2 was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be the
yeah.
end of the Michael Myers story. Because, like Ricky said, it was intended to become an anthology series where every year there would be a new story. But, as Ricky said, take over. Go ahead.
Yep. After Halloween 3 flopped, because everyone was like, "Oh, it's not Halloween." They were like, "Oh, we'll go back to freaking part Michael Myers, bring him back," which leads into, of course, the return of Michael Myers.
Right.
And we found out that he's been in a hospital for, I don't remember how long, uh, 8 years under a
Yeah, it was some
coma.
along those lines. Yeah. And Ivalani, girl, you were bad enough on PayPal. Now you're really asking for it. Okay. I love you. Thank you. Let's see. Another idea. What if the clown mask young Michael was wearing was an early Silver Shamrock mask, and whatever he was watching brainwashed him? Mike, that is a brilliant idea, I think.
That is interesting.
That is interesting. Now, the only problem with that is that you physically see him putting the mask on. So that indicates it's not the mask that's causing him to kill. He already has that inside him. But if you retconned it back and made it to where when he puts the mask on, he actually does want to kill, there you got something. So there you definitely have an idea.
Yeah, that is something. And in terms of like how the Halloween franchise, because there's been See if I do my math, because there's the
Yeah.
original timeline 1 through 6, and there's the
Mhm.
H2O timeline, and
2-0.
there's the new timeline. And
Right.
so there's 3 different timelines, not counting the Rob Zombie.
Hmm.
There's if they want to do another timeline, here's how they can do it. They can do it starting from Halloween 4.
Right from there, without Halloween 5 and 6 included, you're saying?
Yeah,
So drop the
yeah,
Thorn trilogy, which was stupid. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with that.
yeah.
Because I liked
Because
4, and it got stupid.
mhm. Yeah, because remember, at the end of Halloween 4, Jamie is supposedly possessed by the evil. We could have like a
Supposed to
little
be.
timeline that she's
He
been in a
becomes the
psychiatric
killer.
ward for all this time, and
Hmm.
she feels Michael coming after her. So she escapes the psychiatric hospital, and a
What's up, Ben? Good to see you, big brother.
so she escaped the psychiatric ward, and Michael's still after her. That's
Yep.
like a way I see them if they ever want to do another Halloween timeline.
Hmm. Imagine if Rob Zombie did a version of Halloween 3. What would his shamrock look like?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I kind of find it. Well, maybe it's because the Halloween yeah, if I could say this
That too.
correctly, the Rob Zombie Halloweens get a lot of like bad publicity, and I see why, but they're not the worst films you're ever gonna see. There's some great
That's
kills.
true.
It is
That's true.
bloody.
Except
The, the
his Halloween 2, but White Horse. That's all I have to say. Moving on.
Yeah, the white horse thing was like, so you're saying that this is a hereditary thing between Michael and Lori, that they can see their mom, a younger Michael, and I just find it creepy the way Halloween 2 ends. That stare, that sadistic smile of hers.
Hmm. Yeah,
How they would do a
yeah.
Halloween 3 after that, I don't know.
Let's see. DJ asked, favorite George A. Romero film? I got the list up right here. I mean, I really kind of have to go with the original Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the
For
Living
me.
Dead.
Dawn of the Dead is great. Creep
Yeah.
Show, he was part of Creep Show and Creep Show 2.
Yeah.
We get into Day of the Dead, that's fine. But other stuff doesn't really kick for me as much as those classics do.
Yeah, I think Night of the Living Dead for me.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this was in 1968, the fact that the lead role was for a black actor at the time, still with the civil rights movement, it was huge.
It was huge. Yep. And a lot of people at that time were not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
They were not ready for it, and it has lasted and has become a huge it's been a huge statement about society of that time, because even though he is the hero in that film, he's still assumed to be a zombie and taken out at the end.
Yeah.
Rachel wants to know least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. My favorite is the third one. Dream Warriors cannot
Yes.
be beat. I don't care what anyone
Yes.
says.
Favorite is his favorite Dream Warriors. The fact that Dawkins Dream Warriors is also on the freaking soundtrack.
Of course. Yep. And it has
I
think it has like the most you connect the most to the kids in that film more than any of the others. They all have their distinct.
creatively.
Go ahead.
I think creatively also, because his kills were creative.
Yeah. You got the heavy metal hardcore chick in there, the punk type chick. You get the D&D super nerd in there. You get the super strong dude. You get the girl who can do all the flips and stuff, and you get the mute guy who can actually talk. And then you get boobs. You get boobs in there too, so that's always a plus.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the peak of Freddy Krueger, of Robert Englund's portrayal of the character before he basically becomes the horror version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
yeah.
Now, as far as the worst,
the remake.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of across the board. But if there was one, let's say the Robert Englund
Okay,
era
now the
of
Robert
nightmare. What
Englund,
would be the worst one there?
Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
it's kind
fact
of
that
that one and Dream Child are kind of there. It's
yeah,
very tough. I love
yeah,
4. I think 4 is underrated. The original is great. 2 is all right for what it is.
hmm
Um, third one the best. 4 is good. It kind of continues the same vibe as the third one, and then we get into 5 and 6, and that's where I kind of like, oh, they're trying
yeah,
too hard here, and it just that there's no more blood to be drank from that stone.
yeah. I also love the fact that Don Dawkins, what they were shooting the music video, Dream Warriors. Of course, Robert Englund wasn't the full-on
Isn't
makeup.
it? Mm-hmm.
He said that one time he came into Dawkins' dressing room with the knives. Of course, Dawkins were known to sniff a bit of zombie dust once they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund, from his knives, got it in the knives, and I don't remember if it was Don Dawkins or George Lynch who snipped it out of his knives, and they were going crazy because you have Freddy Krueger giving you fucking cocaine.
That's the fun stuff you never hear on a DVD or Blu-ray behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so you get those kind of crazy stories, and the music video is great because Robert Englund's in it, and Patricia Arquette's in it too. They both portray
yeah,
their characters in the
yeah,
video and interact with the band. That was very tough to do back in those days.
yeah. Man,
So
I actually no, I actually don't have that album from. See, it was the one, two. It was the fourth album.
God, I
Uh,
used to starts with a B.
from back back to attack. From back to attack.
Back on the attack. Yeah, back on the attack. That's it.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yeah. That's
Yep,
the one.
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's Dawkins, the breaking the chains, and then it's
Love that song.
yeah, it's breaking the chains, and then it's
Well, let's bring it up here. I'll bring it up for you.
yeah, it's into the fire, and then I know it's under lock and key, and then it's back from the attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. Yep, back in the attack, fourth album. Kiss of Death, Prisoner, Night by Night, Standing in the Shadows, Heaven Sent, Mr. Scary, So Many Tears,
Mhm.
Burning Like a Flame, Lost Behind the Walls, Stop Fighting Love, Cry of the Gypsy, Sleepless Night, and then Dream Warriors is on
Yeah,
there.
I need to
So,
get with Dawkins. For me, those four albums are like the best. Maybe the solo Don Dawkins one he did after, kind of, but after that, Dawkins for me is just those four albums,
mhm.
honestly.
Yeah, because that's when we get out of
Uh,
the 80s into the 90s, and that's when it just becomes carbon copy
hey,
after
I mean
carbon
the
copy.
fact that Mickey D was in Don Dawkins for a bit,
Yeah, he was in there for a minute.
which he after that he went to King Diamond, and after that, Motorhead.
Motorhead. Mm-hmm. Talk about a hell of a career. You got to give it to Mickey D.
Yeah.
What
hmm
would a podcast with Beetlejuice and Freddy Krueger be called?
Oh
Knives
God.
and Wives. Um,
Um,
Welcome to
I
Prime
guess.
Time. We're here for your daughter, Chuck. I don't know. Ghosts with the Mosts. Ghostess with the Mostess. I don't
It's
know.
showtime, bitch.
Showtime, bitch. That's it. That's it. That's it. Perfect. Presented by Podcast One. It's showtime, bitch.
Yeah. I
Did you
did
see?
enjoy
That's a good question. Let's look at the modern horror stuff. You talked about Terrifier 3. Have you seen? What else have you seen this year that has piqued your interest? Like, have you seen the new Beetlejuice movie, Evil Dead Rise, Late Night with the Devil, movies of that nature?
Okay, Alien Romulus. I loved that film. I love that film. Evil Dead Rises was last year, right?
That was this year, I think. I think it was
Oh,
earlier
oh.
this year.
I love. Yeah, I think the fact that Evil Dead Rises kind of, I feel that they actually went back to what made the first two films great
Work, yes. Mm-hmm.
work.
Yeah.
Uh, The Exorcist Believer, I was iffy about that one.
Yeah. My good boy Walter gave me all I need to know about that one, so I'll skip it.
Yeah. Supposedly they were gonna make like 2 more parts after this, but I think it's been scrapped.
Possibly.
I mean, the idea was great, but the execution, though.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at. Let me bring up a list. What horror movies have come out this year? Let's see.
I mean, not that many though. I know last year a lot came out. Last year a lot did come out.
Well, we have Beetlejuice just came out
Yeah.
recently. I enjoyed it for what it is. It's not fantastic.
It was
It's not
good.
better than the first, but it's good. Alien Romulus, just put over that one. Long Legs. Did you see Long Legs?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. The new Crow film. We have that.
Oh no. No, don't.
Yeah,
don't.
no. We don't talk about
No.
that.
No.
Let's see. Abigail came out this year. I've not seen that. And of course, when I see Abigail, I'm instantly disappointed because it's not what I would have wanted to be.
It was fun. It's a fun little film.
It's a vampire movie. Fine. Okay, cool. But it's not
Yeah,
Abigail.
but I was like, Abigail? You mean the Abigail?
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
not.
It's not.
No.
Let's see.
It felt like Abigail 2.
Oh, God. Yeah, we don't talk about Abigail. Let's see. Oh, Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yes.
That was great. I love that movie.
That
I still have
was
to get
great.
that so Michelle can watch it. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was kind of like that one was great in the theater. I'm going to be excited to watch it at home too because of the way it's shot and the way it's presented. Let's see what else has been coming out this year. There's actually been a lot of horror movies that have come out this year, and A Violent Nature. I've heard a lot about that one.
Nope, haven't seen it.
It's like a slasher film, so I've heard of. Oh God. Okay. Let's say this right now. Please stop making the horror movies based on cartoon characters. Stop this.
Oh no.
Just stop.
No.
All right. The Mousetrap. Watch the kill count from Dead Meat about the Mousetrap. You'll get everything you need to know about that film.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I get it. Didn't like it. Moving on. We don't need any more.
I think they're making one on Tigger.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're making another Mousetrap movie, and guess who's starring in it?
Who?
The guy who plays Art the Clown.
David Howard-Thorne?
He's going to be in the sequel.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, he has to do something. He can't be Art the Clown all the time.
Do something. So, yeah, but the Bambi movie they want to make, and the next Winnie the Pooh movie, just stop it, please. You're not impressing anybody.
Here's one that I remember: The Strangers, Chapter 1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that did come out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I was iffy about it because they're kind of retconning The Strangers. Because I remember seeing The Strangers when it came out, the first one. Kind of creepy.
Oh, let's see. No, Michael Keaton would not work as Freddy. We're not going there.
No.
Fun fact from Rachel. Did you know that the original Scream came out in December? So technically, it's a Christmas movie.
It's kind of weird that's actually
I don't know about that because technically, it doesn't matter if it comes out around Christmas. If the subject matter is about Christmas, then it's a Christmas movie. But you can watch it anytime you want. If you want to call it a Christmas movie, I ain't hating. You go right ahead and do that.
So, by that logic, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Well, no, it takes place around Christmas. So, therefore, it is a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas party they're having at Nakatomi Plaza. Therefore, it is a Christmas movie. Sorry, Walter. Logic.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers.
Damn right. Chopping Mall or Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns. Yeah. Chopping Mall is good. That's not the original name of the film. I forget what it was called. They changed the name to make it sound a little bit more edgy. But it's nothing compared to Killer Clowns. So, yes.
Yeah.
Maximum Overdrive versus The Howling. I have to go The Howling
Oh,
in this one.
oh
Anybody
God,
know
you're killing
my
me.
feelings about Maximum Overdrive?
You're killing me here. You're killing me here because I really love The Howling, but Maximum Overdrive, the fucking soundtrack.
The soundtrack is one thing, the movie's another.
I mean, I'm not
He's got it.
saying Who Made Who album, which was the soundtrack to the film,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms, if I were to like watch a film for what it is, The Howling. I mean, yeah, it's like one of the greatest werewolf movies, but nothing beats American Werewolf in London.
No, nothing beats that. But the early Howling movies are good, and they get a little more ridiculous as they go.
I think to me, The Howling, the first two films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet also.
Yes, that's good. The Stepfather versus Cannibal Holocaust. Probably The Stepfather, honestly. For me.
Now, the original or the remake?
I would go the original.
Well, in that case, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes, Cannibal Holocaust was a one and done for me because I get the premise of the movie. There's certain things in there I don't want to see. I don't want to see actual animals getting killed in a movie. So I don't want to see that. Sorry. I don't want to see a jungle rat get stabbed, and I don't want to see a turtle get pulled apart. But human beings, that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. They deserve it. But who hurts a turtle, for God's sake, you sick fucks? So yeah, but there you go. We'll split on that one. That's fine. Oh, Mike's got a list of. There you go. Creepshow 2 or Day of the Dead.
Creepshow.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, Creepshow 2 probably. They're both good, but
they're good.
Yeah, Creepshow 2.
Yeah.
Out just a little bit. Mike says he's got a list of bad horror movies for us. Oh, great.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
What is a genre of horror you can't stand? How about that? What's ones that you just like, I don't care. I want nothing to do with it.
I don't know. For the longest time, comedy horror was not my thing. For the longest time. To me, horror was like serious, evil, gory. Mm-hmm. But as I got older, I was like, dude, it's still amazing.
You were Jim Cornette of horror.
Pretty much, I was.
Comedy in my goddamn horror movie, goddamn motherfucker.
But then I started watching the scary movie films, and then Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead. I'm like, okay, there's still horror films, and they got some good horror. I think romantic horrors, romantic horror. There's only one romantic horror movie I actually do like, Warm Bodies.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about movies that are sent during Valentine's and they get killed. No, I'm actually meaning that the whole movie is about like love, and I'm like, Now, how about some modern horror films that you actually enjoyed? That you consider could be like you can consider be like my Friday the 13th or my Jason or my I don't know, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, you've got a few. I mean, the generation, let's say that, because I'm born in 75, I'm a child of the 80s. So if you're born in the 80s, you're a child of the 90s, that kind of thing. So I think for that generation, yourself included, I think Scream goes in there because it revolutionized the whole slasher genre as it really turned it over on its head. It became very meta, especially when they're doing a slasher movie that contains a slasher movie about the subject matter of the slasher movie you're watching, Stab and Scream and all that stuff. It gets way too freaking meta. So that leads to the psychology of that generation. Then you've got the Conjuring franchise.
The Conjuring.
And for me, of course, you've got the Saw franchise. That is my all-time favorite horror franchise. It's not the best one, in my opinion, but it is my favorite.
Terrifier
now has become a huge thing because that was, Terrifier was underground, like we were talking about with Texas Chainsaw or Blair Witch. It was this underground, independent thing. and it just
Yeah.
caught on. It got so many people talking about it. Like, you got to see this movie. Now, the first movie's the shits, okay, people. It's just across the board. There's no fucking film to it, okay. It's straight torture porn. Don't worry about the story, but it gets better with the second one, and that carries over into the third one, which I haven't seen yet, but I will.
Because the Terrifier franchise, well, it started with an anthology named All Hallows Eve. It's, of course, an anthology. Art is in all the movies. Not, of course, David Howard Thorne doesn't portray art in that movie, but the idea of art started from there. And then, of course, Terrifier 1, which was, I think, made with less than $1 million, and it got a cult following.
Right.
Terrifier 2 was actually crowdfunded for $2 million. And of course, it got people talking.
Right.
And now Terrifier 3 was made with a much bigger budget, but still, it doesn't go over. What's the best way I can say this?
It doesn't it's not commercialized.
Exactly. You still feel like you're watching an indie horror film, but my God, it's like, I think it has made right now like
it's broken the box office. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's number one in the country right now.
I'm actually thinking of seeing it twice before it gets banned again.
When we go down to when we make our gathering to Ohio this week, I think all of us may be trying to go out to see it. I would definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got some more from Mike. A couple of other choices to make. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 versus Demons. I don't remember the second one. So yeah, I'll go Demons on that one. Reanimator versus Motel Hell.
Reanimator.
Okay. Honestly, for me, neither one of these aged well for me. I liked them both when I first saw them when I was younger, and then I watched them again when I'm older. I'm like, huh?
Especially that scene in Reanimator. You know, the one.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. And anytime we can get Barbara Crampton naked, I'm happy. Let's see. Oh, Sleepwalkers versus Trill. I think that's
Troll.
Or Troll? Is that supposed to be Troll? He's missing I'd like to buy a vowel, please. Sleepwalkers, Troll.
I've heard more on Sleepwalkers. Trill doesn't ring a bell, so I guess I go with Sleepwalkers.
Misery versus Silence of the Lambs. This is tough.
God.
This is tough.
It's great because it's tough because both these films gave Kathy Bates and Anthony Hopkins Oscar winnings.
Yeah, we have Kathy Bates' performance versus Anthony Hopkins' performance there. It's just magical. Both of them are nightmare scenarios. They're both psychological thrillers. Oh, man. I mean, I feel like Silence has more action to it, so the scenes kind of kick a little bit more, whereas Misery's really drawn out, methodical in its presentation to where it really builds up the tension and the fear. So Silence has a little bit more like gotcha and comes back. Then again,
Anthony Hopkins isn't even the main villain in the film.
No, he's not. That's Buffalo Bill. Yeah, so there's that's really tough.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Silence because I've seen that movie more than Misery.
I think I would too.
Even though I love both films.
Yeah, I would have to go with that too. Let's see. Mike's throwing them all at us right now. Let's see. Alice, Sweet Alice versus Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
You son of a bitch. I love Alice, Sweet Alice. I love that film. Under fucking rated. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, are we talking about the
original
50s
or the remake?
Because the remake, the 70s, of course.
Right, yeah. Yep, with Donald Sutherland.
Alice, Sweet Alice for me.
Yeah, I'll probably go Invasion of the Body Snatchers for me. And High Legend, I see you out there. Let's see. The Chosen from 1977 versus Tentacles from 1977. I don't remember either one of these films
Me neither.
myself. Yeah, so
Me
they don't ring a bell. You missed others above, Scott. Throw them in the chat again, Mike. I'm not here for you.
neither.
Do your job, ref. Let's see.
And also the fact that, you know, for for me, I thought that horror was only just an American thing, but you go to Spain, Japan, Mexico, France,
Italy,
Germany, dude,
hmm
they go
Australia.
beyond.
hmm
I think one of the first foreign non-American horror films that I actually saw was Suspiria.
Oh, okay. hmm I remember getting to see a lot of like the Hammer horror films on the USA Network when I was a kid, um, and even like other movies like Vampire Circus and what was it called? Bloodbath at the House of Death. That's the name of a film. There's that one. Yeah, just remember seeing that because they're mostly British influenced movies. So that was kind of my first foray into like foreign horror, and then got into like I prefer The Ring from Japan, the original one as compared to the American version that came out in
Yeah,
2000s. I've never been
Ringo.
a Giallo fan, so I can't really get into that kind of stuff. Um, but it is what it is. Mike, we talked about those movies already, so you missed it. We talked about Reanimator, Motel Hell, and we talked about all those. So
Yeah, and also the fact that also you gotta remember this that horror has given a lot of studios like IFC Films was created because of horror. I mean, I
A24,
think the first A24, Blumhouse, Shutter. You
Shutter.
know, even though Shutter's more online, has created some great content. But IFC Films, I think, the movie that set them apart from anything else, The Human Centipede.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. hmm Yeah, that completely took it to a whole new level. And
Hmm.
I think I also have to say, I hate to harp on this, but I think Saw had a big to do with the. People want to say Saw is torture porn. I will argue to my dying day, it's not. It's nowhere near torture porn because it is a much more in-depth story than just a
Hmm.
straight torture porn film would have. Like the Hostel movies are torture porn, um, but movies like Saw kind of reinvigorated not the slasher genre because that was dead. That was completely saturated and gone. But it created this new type of horror idea where it is almost like a psychological thriller because the human being is the manipulator, but the horror is all triggered upon by the victims.
Yeah,
So you are trapped in the game, and he is playing. He's putting you in a position to start playing this game.
yeah.
All right, Mike's got some new ones in there. The Omen trilogy versus the first three Alien films.
I ranked all the Almond movies.
Mm-hmm.
The first one's the only good one.
Right.
The other two are mixed bag. I'll go with the Alien. I'll go with Alien.
Yeah, because I mean, still, the original Alien is a classic, and
Alien.
Aliens is oh man, it's a horror movie, but it's an action film, so it covers every place. And we talked about Alien 3. We get that. Let's see. Favorite indie horror film, Scott and Ricky.
God, Picture fucking Poison.
Yeah, there's a lot in
There's
there.
been a lot.
Um,
Okay.
Velocipaster.
Um, well, there's three films that pop into my mind that were indie films, but really got like a lot of people talking about them.
Mhm.
The Witch, Hereditary, and Midsummer.
Oh yeah. hmm Yep, those. And I'm gonna go like old school, like grindhouse stuff. Frankenhooker, Basket Case, The Stuff. Those are definitely ones up there that are they're indie. They still count as indie films. Toxic Avenger, that's another one. We got to get Trauma has got to get some love in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Zombie.
So Zombie, right? The original. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think those all fall into that category. House of a Thousand Corpses versus Devil's Rejects. For me, this is easy. Devil's Rejects.
I'm going with Thousand Corpses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Three from Hell is horrible, so don't even worry about it.
No.
Rob Zombie Halloween versus the early 2000s Texas Chainsaw remake, not rematch, remake. I'm going to go the Texas Chainsaw remake in 2003.
Yeah, that was actually my first Texas Chainsaw movie that I ever saw.
There you go. I've said it before, that started the whole resurgence of those reimagined remakes. That was the first one, and it was successful. So then you got the new Nightmare on Elm Street, the new Friday the 13th, the Halloween movies starting to come around again. So that's really what kicked it off. Let's see. What do you think about the movie theory that Kevin McAllister was traumatized by being left alone, that he grew up to be Jigsaw? I have heard about this. I've heard about this theory. I think it's fascinating. That Home Alone is the origin story of John Kramer. Doesn't work timeline wise, but I get it. So, but it's still fun.
Timeline wise doesn't work, but I mean it's a fun theory.
It is fun theory. Yep. Oh man. So now let's talk about the other aspect that we haven't really gotten into. That's the horror influence of metal.
Oh boy.
Let's just get into some of our favorites about this. And of course for me, obviously King Diamond, Merciful Fate is right there at the top. And that's just easy to go to. So we won't really need to talk about that. We could do that for hours. But what are some other horror-based like metal that people should be listening to? Because you did do a video on your channel some time ago that if you were getting into metal and you're a horror fan, these are the albums of the songs you check out. So let's talk about that list there.
Well, Cannibal Corpse for one.
That's for one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if you were going to introduce somebody to that band, which album would you give them?
Good question. I think I would actually go with Two of the Middle-aged.
There you go. One of the big four from the Barnes era.
Hammer Smash Face, Icon Blood, Necrophilia, Split Wide Open, Addicted to Vaginal Skin. Great titles though.
Yeah.
Of course, you mentioned King Diamond. That's another one. Try to remember here. I guess Rob Zombie, the early Rob Zombie albums, the first maybe two albums. Trying to think more black metal here because I could go with black metal. Mayhem,
yeah.
Especially with the backstory.
Yeah, I mean, that's more. It's been romanticized and
here's another one. Ice Nine Kills.
Nine Kills. Yep.
Yeah. Which they actually released a video with Terrifier with art in it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. I think I still have my list though. I think I did that.
Yeah, I was about to say if you have that, and you just pull that up there because Ricky does have a YouTube channel, and you can find him out there under HorrorMaster. So
actually, I have some albums though. Some albums. Okay. So here's some albums that if you're like into horror that could actually fit into the horror season. Black Sabbath self-titled debut. Abigail, King Diamond. Bloody Kisses by Typo.
Yes.
Famous Monsters, Misfits. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. Halloween. Especially the song. Melissa, Merciful Fate. Ghost with Meliora. Cruelty and the Beast, Cradle of Filth. Talk about, of course, Elizabeth Bathory. Hillbilly Deluxe, Rob Zombie. Death, Scream Bloody Gore. Two of the Middle-aged by Cannibal Corpse. In the Nights of the Eclipse by Emperor. Transylvania Hunger, Dark Throne. Horror Show by Ice Earth. Number of the Beast, Iron Maiden, Raining Blood, Slayer, Witch Cult Today, Electric Wizard, Witchcraft Destroyers Minds and Reap Souls by Coven, Seven Churches, Possessed, The Satanist, Behemoth, Antichrist Superstar, Marilyn Manson, Down Below Tribulation, Hammerset 5, Shining, Welcome to My Nightmare, Alice Cooper, and Bark of the Moon, Ozzy Osbourne.
I mean, that's a hell of a list.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much, like, I think that really much gets them all. There's all different kinds of musical genres in there, but it's all metal. It's all horror inspired or base metal.
Yeah.
From progressive to flat out punk style, grungy, early black metal type stuff in there. Experimentative progressive metal is in there. Power metal, thrash, speed, everything, death metal, black metal, everything in between, everything we love so much around this time of year. You didn't throw any Mortician on there though, so there's that.
Yeah, chopped up for a barbecue.
Yep. Active for barbecue or zombie apocalypse is fine.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of an acquired taste.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even some cattle mutilation in there if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot because with metal being a genre of music that touches taboo subjects, same thing with horror. It talks about taboo subjects. Like there are some horror films that go beyond like the limits, like Terrifier 3.
Yep.
A Serbian film. The Human Centipede.
Human Centipede. I spit on your
So
grave.
I think, yeah, so that's why I think with me with metal and horror goes so much alike because they talk about the stuff that you really don't listen to on a regular basis.
With that, let me ask you this: is there a subject matter that is in horror that you would be like, I'm not going there. I don't want to see that.
Pedophilia. A movie like talks about like somebody. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this film. Megan is Missing.
Nope.
It's a found footage film. Of course, you're not gonna see it. But there's a scene on the film that's so disturbing that I almost checked out. Even though it's not real, it's not like they're acting.
It's a
so
movie,
real,
but it's being it's being personified that this is happening. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Also, I cannot tolerate any rape scenes. I cannot handle that. One movie we love watching this time of year is American Mary, which is from the Soska twins, and there is a pretty rough scene in that film. I always skip right over it. I don't want to watch it. Just my own personal thing, just my deal. Because that's a question. When I used to do my podcast, the Necrocasticon, we used to have a lot of authors on, all horror based, and I would ask them, when you are writing, did you ever get to a situation where you started writing something and you thought to yourself, I can't put this in a book? And some of them would say, yeah. Some would say, yeah, this is going too far. I cannot write this. Not because, it's anything personal, but it's like, well, it could be personal, but it could also be like, I don't want to turn off the reader. I want them to like, get rid of that. I don't want to go with that stuff. So there are limits, but it's really tough to explore those limits and find out what the limit is unless you push that envelope. And that's what you're seeing with movies like Terrifier now, with the gore and the extreme violence that's happening in the films. And even a movie like Human Centipede, like you said, this the aspect of ass to mouth in a whole different situation. Because it's cool when it's consensual, not in that situation. So I've heard. It's on the internet. So it's things like that just like get a little too extreme for some audiences. How many times have you heard about people getting up and walking out of the theaters from the new Terrifier film? You get people who think they get past the freaking opening credits.
Yep. The first 10 minutes of Terrifier 3 for a lot of people could be the hardest 10 minutes. without
Yep.
giving any spoilers.
Yes. No spoilers needed. So there are all different kinds out there, but you don't have to get into the gore. You don't have to be a gore whore. You can get into the
Hmm.
psychological thrillers. You can get into the old school
Yes.
black and white Universal monster movies, the Hammer films, which in some cases people say are better. You could check out, like you were mentioning earlier, like the foreign films. Check out the Spanish version of Dracula. Some people will say it is better than the Bela Lugosi classic because it's
Yeah.
shot the same area, just in a different time frame, and the
Hmm.
performances are a little bit better. The story is a little bit cooler. The visual is a little bit nicer. So, as much love you want to get to Bela Lugosi, there are other options out there. Check those out. Check out the Christopher
Yeah.
Lee Hammer films about being Dracula. A
Yeah.
whole different character. Much more aggressive, much more visceral in his presentation of the character,
Yeah.
whereas Bela Lugosi was romantic and loving and all that. I would want to suck your blood, that all kind of stuff. And then you got Christopher Lee. I've
Yeah.
killed a man
And
for real. I will
also,
kill you.
and also, we didn't talk about this, that horror has also got into the anime world, like
I'm not an anime
Death
guy,
Note.
so this you can educate me on this one now, because this is
So
completely
yeah,
foreign to me.
so with anime and horror, they go same thing alike. There are some animes that are really out there, like Tokyo Ghoul, Death Note, amongst others. That yeah, they are spirits, demons, vampires, you name it, and the how they draw it, how they portray it is so gory. They actually show you all the blood.
Mm,
Could you imagine somebody getting into horror because of anime?
mm.
And then they go see watch one of the Freddy movies. They're like, "What is this shit? It's not that gory."
It's not that gory, yeah. It's like, oh, that's nothing. I sat
Hmm.
through this. I can handle that. So but it's all subjective. This is not for everybody, and that's
Oh
okay.
yeah.
It's okay out there to not be a fan of horror. Don't get pressured into watching it if you don't want to. My niece, 14 years old, does not want anything to do with horror. She doesn't want to watch anything like that. And her mother was kind of the same way. Her mother could watch some horror movies, but wasn't a big fan. I became the big horror guy in
Hmm.
my family, and my wife and I could sit down and watch horror movies together and enjoy it together. But like I said, my niece doesn't want anything to do with them.
Yep.
So
And
it's
sometimes,
yes.
and I don't know if it's just me that I do this. When you watch a horror film, you begin to see things that other people don't really see.
Mhm.
Like you see the hints that the movie's trying to give you, and you're like, I wonder if that's gonna happen, or like, oh, that this is gonna happen without even seeing the movie. You're like, yep, it happened.
Mhm.
Because we've seen so many horror films a lot that you're like, oh, here comes the jump scare. Boom, there it is. Oh,
Mhm.
he's not dead. He's gonna come back. Boom,
Right.
he's back. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I like it when they, because every horror trope has been done to death, literally,
Mhm.
figuratively, and literally. And I like it when they try to do something different. I appreciate when they try, but they go a little bit too much, and then like get a little too goofy and a little bit too like the okay, we saw where you're going there, but you can stop that now. And it's like that goes back to the Winnie the Pooh shit. Just stop. We don't need that. But so yeah, like I said, horror it's an acquired taste. If you don't have it, it's fine. If you can get into it, cool. Like we also said, there's fun horror stuff out there too. There's the comedy horror aspect of it. And you know, I grew up. My wife and I have been getting to this too. I grew up every year around Halloween time. Every TV show did a Halloween themed show, or there
Mhm.
was an animated special that the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, was legendary.
Yeah.
And that's before our time. That goes back to the 60s. The Garfield Halloween special. Find a special from like 1978, 79. The Halloween that almost wasn't. It's Dracula, Wolfman, a mummy,
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster, and a witch. And the witch doesn't want to fly across the moon because she's tired of being kept down. She wants to have equal billing with Dracula. It's a half-hour special, but it's fun as hell. It's goofy as shit. It's from the 70s, so there's disco in it, for God's sake. So it's on YouTube. Find it. Um, yeah, so there's fun stuff out there too to get into this time of year. So no matter what, get into the holiday Halloween spirit. That's what it's all about. It doesn't. It's not just one day. It's a whole season. That's the way it's always
Oh
been.
yeah, oh yeah. I actually started watching a lot of horror films. I think mid-September. That's where I start.
August 18th is always when I start.
Yeah.
That's the official. That's the unofficial official transition from summerween into spooky season around here. So we start
Yeah.
August 18th watching this film and then go on from there. So there's
Can
still
you
plenty of
recite? Can you recite the intro?
not the first one. I can do the second one, but I can't do the first one.
At least the second one.
All right, second one. On the afternoon of August 18, 1973, 5 young people in a Volkswagen van ran out of gas on a farm road in South Texas. 4 of them were never seen again. The next morning, the one survivor, Sally Hardesty Enright, was picked up on a roadside, blood-caked and screaming murder. Sally said she had broken out of a window in hell. The girl babbled a mad tale. A cannibal family in an isolated farmhouse, chainsawed fingers and bones. Her brother, her friends, hacked up for barbecue. Chairs made of human skeletons. That she sank into catatonia. Texas lawmen mounted a month-long manhunt but could not locate the macabre farmhouse. They could find no killers and no victims, no facts, no crimes. Officially on the records, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre never happened. But during the last 13 years, over and over again, reports of bizarre, grisly chainsaw mass murders have persisted all across the state of Texas. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has not stopped. It haunts Texas. It seems to have no end. That's the whole intro to Chainsaw Dismemberment 2 from Mortician. That's why I can remember it more.
Yeah.
Whereas John Larroquette's in the original is much more demure, as kids are saying now. The film you are about to see is an account of the tragedy that befell 5 young youths and blah, blah, blah. And it goes from there. So.
Yeah.
Fun fact, a while ago, our friend Walter had the intro to Texas Chainsaw, I think, too, as his phone ringtone for me when I'm called. So, it's a privilege and an honor. So, speaking of that, this has been a lot of fun. Ricky, my friend, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking horror. We have not gotten to do this before. Usually, we're talking about wrestling and bullshit and been complaining about AEW but enjoying what's going on with wrestling nowadays. But that's cool. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, if I'm in my YouTube channel, HorrorMaster, if I'm in my Instagram, HorrorMaster1980. I know I haven't really uploaded a video in like 4 months. I've just been busy with life and been going to a lot of concerts. I need to do like a CD update because I've gotten a lot of CDs since then. But
how many CDs you got
now? At the moment, I have actually. Let me go to my Discogs. Because I actually bought a couple. There should be coming in next week. I actually bought 2 albums. One was a pre-order. But right now I have 483. With the one that I ordered, 484, and the one that I pre-ordered, 485. Not to mention that this next week, I'll be in San Antonio seeing Possessed, Creator, and Testament.
Mm-hmm. Phenomenal.
So yeah.
485 CDs, and my ass is trying to get rid of my CDs and just get out.
I mean, you gave me some. You gave me and Levi some.
Yeah, you some, Levi some, Walter some. Yeah, I did do that. So I still have the ones I want to keep, just for for posterity. But that's about it. But,
yeah.
But there you have it. That's where you can find Ricky HorrorMaster on the webs. So find his YouTube channel, subscribe, check out his stuff, leave comments, do all that stuff. Do the same thing on this channel if you would not mind. Big shout out to all the people who've been checking out my latest reaction video to The Warning and their performance of Evolve from the VMAs in 2023. I don't know how this happened, but my channel jumped 100 subs in not even a day. That never happens. Yeah. So hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I could not believe that. I got messages from Evilani and other people like, dude, great job in the subs. I mean, what are you talking about? Then I looked at my numbers like, what the how did that happen? So there you have it. So otherwise, I'll be back on here, not this coming Friday because I am Ohio bound on this Wednesday. I'll be racking out with the Merc fam. So doing that stuff. Who knows when Ricky and I are going to get a chance to do this again. Hopefully we'll get to do it with our boys in the Shadow Cult. We didn't get to do Heroes of Wrestling again this year, Levi.
I mean, I mean, we could bring James in and be like,
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we'll have to do that, I guess, eventually. But we kind of missed the window of when it, when it works, I guess. But man,
Yeah, we're gonna have to
it's what
drag Levi, like do it one more time.
he'll come in. It
But
sucks.
how?
Kick
But
out.
but how will we do it? Like, are we gonna actually do it like seriously, or are we gonna do comical again?
I don't know. We already did the comedy thing, and we rebooked it. So there's got to be some other stuff we could do. But it is what it is. So
Yeah.
we'll have fun eventually. But I want to thank you guys again for hanging out with us in the chat. Evalani, you bad girl. Thank you so much for your donations tonight. Thanks for all the questions tonight, guys. You guys were great. Everyone else in the chat, really appreciate you hanging out here. And thank you, Ricky, my friend, for hanging with me tonight. So everyone have a wonderful, happy, healthy, haunted Halloween season. Keep those horns high and never stop playing.
Bye.